The Brothers Karamazov, Book 10, Chapter 5. Kolya enters into Ilyusha, the dying boy, and he is shocked to see how emaciated and how white and yellowish Ilyusha's skin is, and how much closer to death is than he would have thought. Kolya's behavior in this chapter is one of the cringiest, most uncomfortable things that you could possibly read in literature. The level of not reading the room is really astounding. Kolya thinks he's doing this amazing trick by controlling the room, but really it seems like it's more about him and his control and his showmanship than really lifting Ilyusha's spirits. What am I talking about? Well, he has actually found Ilyusha's thought to be lost forever dog. He's not only found him, he found him almost immediately, and rather than bring him back immediately, he's been training him, keeping him in private, training him like a harsh taskmaster to do all these tricks. Well, rather than just walking in and saying that, no, he's got to stop the show and have all the attention focused on him. Then to really start the drama, to start the drum roll, he needs to blame Ilyusha for losing his dog, for bringing it up, for making Ilyusha feel bad. And so here is this poor, sick, feeble, little kid who is close to dying, and Kolya cannot read the room at all, and so he just keeps making it worse. The father tries to ask him to leave nicely. Ilyusha tries to get his attention, to tell him to shut up, first subtly and then second not so subtly, and Kolya simply cannot figure out that he is being so cringeworthy, so inappropriate. Finally, he reveals what's been going on, and the real dog runs in, and Ilyusha is stoked, but it wasn't worth all the hype. But even then, Kolya has to make it all about himself and show all the tricks that he's been doing. Then he has to go on and talk about himself, and he tells these awful stories about how he stumped the teacher who's interested in his mom, about who founded Troy. He talks, he makes himself the center of attention with this awful story about how he was in the town square watching geese eat food, and he noticed that the geese were leaning their necks out behind a cartwheel in order to get the food that was falling off of the cart. So he looks at the peasant and he says, what do you suppose would happen if the cart moved just a little bit? Do you think that the cart would go over the geese's necks and kill them? And the peasant says, of course it would. And so Kolya tells the peasant, well, let's do it. Let's try it. And so they do, and it does, and the geese dies, and it's a big drama. And so this peasant and Kolya both are brought before the magistrate, brought before the justice, and he's saying, you killed these geese. And Kolya thinks that this is a hilarious story, and he calls the peasant who's now crying, he calls him a woman for crying, and he is let go with this clever defense before the justice, and that is that I merely gave the idea. I was just talking about a hypothetical. This peasant is the one who actually killed the geese, and he is just so cute and so clever with that defense that he's let off by the justice, because they just can't believe how clever this little guy is. Well, this is Dostoevsky introducing, foreshadowing a much more serious event that will come in the next book. And again, Kolya is a mini Ivan here, and so the question sort of put in a lower register, or put in a comic form here with Kolya is there a worldview culpability? If you put the intellectual category in somebody's head, and then they go through with the thing, who is guilty? The one who goes through with the thing, or is also the person that gave them intellectual or moral approval, or a moral category for the thing? Are they not somehow culpable as well? And so Ivan and Smerdyakov have that relationship, and this peasant and Kolya have this relationship. And so now Dostoevsky is sort of introducing a very serious philosophical discussion in kind of a dark but still a comic or lower register or childish way. We're not talking about the murder of Fyodor, we're just talking about a few geese who tried to get some food. Nevertheless, it is an important issue going forward in the novel.